Well, the Benders are back-ish, but Greg is very ill, unfortunately. So, Ange may be joining us at some point this evening, but does this seem tinny? Seems tinny. Okay.
I'll adjust it. Do you want the marker board or anything?
No, thank you, though. No. We are going to do some fun stuff. No whiteboard. I know. Well, Greg isn't here, so I would feel like hesitant to write on the whiteboard, and because that's Greg's right. I haven't gone through the proper training to use the whiteboard, so no whiteboard today. But we are going to do other fun stuff because kids are hanging out with us tonight, and we are going to do some fun activities that the kids have participated in kind of previously. What? No Oreos during the activity. Maybe afterwards. I think maybe there's some snack. But so first off, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hopefully everyone has had a good New Year the first 5 days of this new decade. What has God been doing in your life? Anyone? Thanks, Jess.
Ava just turned 13 recently, a few weeks ago. But we just had a bunch of close friends over yesterday including some people in the room, to speak words over her. And, and we did actually ask God for words, and they were all encouraging, and we got it all on video. And it's just kind of ushering her into that next part of life. Yeah. 13's a big doorway.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was fun.
That's
I cried.
so exciting.
It was hard to hold it together.
Yeah, no doubt. That's so exciting. That will be something that she'll have forever. What a beautiful gift. And I love that we have a great community that does that for each other.
I'm going to run the mic around for you.
Oh, thanks.
Anybody else want it? No.
Did someone kind of have their hand up-ish earlier? Did I miss that? No? Cool. I know we do this every week, so sometimes it's like, oh yeah, what was that new thing? So, awesome. Well, kids, I don't think I've seen most of you since Christmas. How was Christmas? Decent? Okay, well that's good. Better than it sucking. Decent is good? Good? Yeah? What'd you get? Awesome.
A rifle.
You got a rifle?
A rifle.
Oh, a rival. Okay. Sweet. That's awesome. That's super fun. Have you shot all of your siblings already?
The rifles are really painful.
Oh, okay. So is there a rule no shooting the siblings? No rules?
No, they shoot each other all the time. It's
okay.
fine.
All right. They're just
It's the most pain you can get without putting an eye out, so they like it.
Wow. Okay. Good. Protect the eyes. Those are important. Cool. What about stuff for kiddos? What did anyone get for Christmas? Eleanor, what'd you get? You got a new bike? What color is it? That's very important.
What?
Oh, it's a lot of colors. Okay, thank you.
Lots of colors.
It's lots of colors. I love that.
All the colors.
Super fun. Hi, Ange.
I'm going to tell you two of my best. One was a hoverboard and the other one was a bike.
Wow, you did have an awesome
hoverboard
Christmas.
and a bike in one Christmas? Oh my
Dang.
gosh, do not tell my kids about that.
That's
See you, buddy.
awesome. So great. Cool. We were kind of just sharing what God's doing, so I'll give you an opportunity too. What's God doing if you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, I can share a thing.
Okay.
So, you know that I really hate volleyball. and really love it at the same time. And watching your kids play sports, like just totally, I don't know about you, but it brings out all your issues. I mean, pretty much watching your kids do anything brings out your issues. So Darby's not here, so I can totally talk about him, right? Okay. So I just want to tell you, Darby's been sucking really bad. I hope that's okay to say. I mean, it's been really hard, and she's just not been playing like herself at all. Yeah. And it's kind of like painful to watch someone you love like not do well, right? And I'm like, oh, this. And so I wanted to like go and have a conversation with her, right? But I'm not sure this is actually going to be successful. But you just like you want to like impose your will upon someone else for them to be better. Mm-hmm. Anyone with me on that?
I'm so with you.
I want to impose my will upon you to be better.
Yeah.
So anyway, letting go of the fact that that's dominating and somewhat violent, there was no opportunity for me to do this at all. And so I was like, Lord, and he said, even if you had an opportunity, how about we just do the thing that we've done for a bunch of years, which is we just partner with the heavenly host, and you partner with me, and you just bless her. Just bless her to be herself. Now, I have done this maybe one other time, and I didn't see a radical outcome, but I saw a radical outcome today. She played like she has not played in 6 months. She was on fire. And even her coach was like, where has this been? You know? And she had a game-saving, at the end of the game, I mean, she made the last 2 points of the last game, but one of them was a dive to the floor, you know, pop up, miraculous over the net, drop to the other side moment.
My God.
Yeah,
Yay.
and it just, I felt like the Lord just wanting to encourage me of the power of agreement with heaven. It's not about the volleyball game, and it doesn't matter, and that will, you know, really, truly, really, I wish we were winning $1 million or going to the Olympics, but neither of those is true. But the beautiful moment for me was the learning lesson of not, again, imposing my will upon someone else, but to just keep blessing, and to just keep, and no matter what happens, to release my need for someone to be something that I want them to be for me. Yeah. Clearly. I mean, you wouldn't want to admit that or say that, but I wouldn't be all worked up about it if I didn't have a need. So, yeah. So that was fun.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And it makes me think, too, of needing to release my need for God to be something that I want him to be for me, because I think that's kind of been my area of growth over this last year, has been releasing who I think God should be for me. You know, and it has not been an easy journey. Still in the middle of it, but awesome. Well, anyone else before we jump on? I always want to give that opportunity, because it's what community is about, is sharing with each other what's going on. So cool. Awesome. Well, I had a very cool conversation yesterday with my sister. And she is amazing and wonderful, and also struggles with a lot of things in her life just based on situations, you know, like we all do. But she has some very hard situations that she has dealt with. One of which being, and I kind of shared a few weeks ago, she has had a seizure disorder for almost 10 years now, since she got a tetanus shot. Almost immediately after getting a tetanus shot, she started slipping into, you know, kind of a coma state, and then started seizing and whatnot. And she remembered at that time hearing God tell her, I'm not done with you yet. And so that was kind of her hope in that moment, because she said, you know, I honestly felt like I was dying. I felt like I was just slipping away from this earth. And she goes, I remember hearing that one voice of saying, I'm not done with you yet. And through life's traumas, even over the last 10 years, which she has had many, unfortunately, but she's held on to that. And that's always been kind of in the back of her mind, of God saying, I'm not done with you yet. And not that he's ever done with any of us, but that was something that, a phrase that she could connect with on many levels at many different times in her life. And so on Thanksgiving Day, we were at my parents' house, and she started having a seizure. My nephew took her into my parents' bedroom, and she was on the bed and having a seizure. At that point, I didn't know until after the seizure was somewhat over. My nephew came out and told me, and so I went in and was with her. And my mom came in, and her husband came in, and So afterwards, she came out of it and was typically like how she usually is after she comes out of a seizure. Feels like she got hit by a Mack truck. She doesn't want to move. She can't think clearly. Can hardly, put two words together to form a sentence. She had to go to the bathroom because during seizures, sometimes you lose the ability to control things, and she did. So, she went to the restroom, and she was coming back out. And again, she can't even walk on her own. We're having to help her walk. And so then she's sitting down, and she's parched, and her body hurts. And we were just talking with her about just the process and how she's feeling. Are you doing okay? And what are you feeling right now? And she was explaining how she feels when she feels it coming on. And at a couple minutes of that conversation, she started to have another seizure. And so, which was not atypical for her. She's had multiples at times, but normally she has one and then is done for at least a little while. And so she started to go into another seizure. And so my mom we got her onto the floor, and my mom got at her head and put her hands on her head and started to pray for her. And I felt led to put my hand on her abdomen, and so I did, and was praying in my head as my mom was praying out loud. And my brother-in-law, who is sweet and kind and protective, is kind of sitting back, and he is about to say the words, she doesn't like to be touched when she's having a seizure, because any stimulation makes the seizure prolong. Any touch, sound, continues to stimulate the brain to prolong the seizure. So he's about to say the words, don't touch her, or don't talk. That's not helpful. When he starts to see her body just completely change, she starts to breathe. She had been like making these moaning, groaning sounds during the seizure, and she stops. She just starts breathing. Her whole body just starts to relax, and so it's about 2 minutes of that as my mom continues to pray and I'm praying, and her husband's kind of sitting there shocked going, what is happening? And so then tears just start pouring down my sister's face. She's laying on her back, and tears just start coming down her eyes. And she comes up, and the first thing that she says is, "It is well." She goes, "I know it is well." She goes, "I just had an encounter with the Father," and she goes, "I was in his lap, and it came full circle, and he told me that it's done. That he told me in that moment when it first happened, this first seizure happened, that he wasn't done with me and that it was going to be okay." And it came. She goes, "It came full circle." She goes, "I've been healed." She goes, "I will never have another seizure again. I know in my heart that I have been healed of this for 10 years." And the only way that she didn't have seizures was with medication, anti-seizure medications, ones that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. But and so we're so joyful, and she was totally changed. She, after a couple of minutes, we're just praying and like blessing and thanking the Lord. And so then she sits up and she's like, "I could run a marathon right now." She goes, "I have so much energy," which is impossible. I mean, I don't know if anyone of you have ever been with someone who's had a seizure, but it's your whole body is tense and every muscle in your body is working as hard as it possibly can. And so she gets up, and so we go out to the kitchen, and she's doing dishes, and it's like, oh my word, Lord, what just happened? And it was such a miraculous moment. And at the same time, I'm going, Lord, I swear, if this does not last, if she has a seizure tomorrow, I'm going to have issues. And because that's been my process, as I said, over this last year of like, God, who are you for me? Anyways. And so last night we had our family Christmas time and gift exchange and such, and we were talking about that moment, and she said it's so cool to look back now, hindsight 2020, and she goes, I can now process a little bit better that moment of healing. And she was like, it changed my relationship with God. She has known God like my family has since we were children. And she goes, this is something totally different. And she goes, because I experienced him. And she goes, it is well. There is nothing more that I can say about that experience with God in that moment. There was nothing wrong. There was no lacking, no longing, it is well. And what we came to was that is more reality than what we experience on a physical basis every single day. And sometimes it feels like there's this veil that separates us between the heavenly realm of that experience of it as well. And then Jesus tells me, I tore that veil. That veil doesn't exist. It's there and it's accessible. And he so desires for us to experience that all the time, because that is our reality. That is our reality as children of God and co-heirs with Christ. Our reality is to experience him in every possible way. And so I sometimes, again, in thinking who I want God to be for me, I think, I'll experience you this way, and kind of put my box on it.